Hello, welcome back to the channel, ladies and gents. This is a follow-up video to the earlier one I did today about Tom Cruise going off on members of the crew of Mission Impossible 7. So I'll play a little bit of the audio now.
With every studio at night, insurance companies, producers, and they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs, you I don't ever want to see it again. Ever. And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone. And anyone on this crew does it. That's it. And you too, and you too, and you. Don't you ever do it again.
There you go. So that'll give you some context behind this. Now, the title of this video is Was It Justified? Because we've actually learnt a little bit more about it. This is an article on The Hollywood Reporter, but Variety is saying exactly the same thing. So we know now the context behind his actions. And I want to pose you the question, was it justified? Because a lot of people said from the off, without context, that it was justified. And I disagree with that form of behaviour, just to say, oh, it was justified, he's right, absolutely he's right. What if I told you these people just stood too close together? I wouldn't say that's justified if I were you. Like, it's, in my head anyway, I feel it's very difficult to justify lambasting people with such ferocity. So much so, by the way, that it does actually look staged. Yeah, lambasting people with such ferocity over a mistake. You know, because a lot of people use this argument of, oh, well, he's just a human, so he's going to lose his, he's going to lose his cool eventually. It's like, yeah, true, but so's the people not, subscribing or being able to abide by something which goes against a lifetime's worth of ingrained social habits, because that's what it is. You're asking people to go against something they have learnt and picked up over their entire lifetime, which is just basic human interaction. You can't do that like that. It's very difficult. And if anyone disagrees, I'd check your own behaviour. There'll be a tiny percentage of you that can truthfully say you have abided by every single restriction here that's been put on us. It's difficult, and people do make mistakes. And this sort of outburst is not justified. Because, again, a lot of people, in my head, it's not justified. FYI. Not to that degree. It's the outburst level. I think he's got a point on what he was saying, but it's the degree to which he took it. It was a disproportionate reaction. That's what I would say. And a lot of people were saying, well, it would be in their contracts now, so they must abide by it, It's like, yeah, true. But so's behavioural conduct as well, from the likes of a key producer. And in the argument of whether it's justified, what's the motive behind his response? Why would someone get so angry about it? And you have to ask yourself, was it altruism? I don't think so. As much as people do paint Tom Cruise as Hollywood's good guy, this man is a very key investor in Mission Impossible. He's a key investor. He will be making and losing a lot of money on this production. A lot of money. So, yes, some of it, the motivation behind this is definitely not entirely altruistic. And again, he does have a key point with respect to thousands of people will lose their jobs. Because they will. Of course they will. And that sucks. And you guys can say whatever you want about the first video. And, apparently I disagreed with him. I didn't. I said he's got a point. I just said he needs to tone it down. But one thing I've always said about Hollywood and even Disney, like I've said this about Disney, loads and loads of times about Disney, I really don't want anyone to lose their jobs. I say it all the time. I say it's tragic that people lose their jobs because I think it sucks. But I do think, and anyone who's been in a fight, anyone who has worked in any form of sort of violent situation will know categorically that you can actually convey more presence and power by being calm. And this is what Tom Cruise, I think, needed to do. Because a lot of people were like, oh, well, he needed to do this and he needed to go off on one and blah, 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 blah. And I disagree. I used to be a teacher because I had some people saying, it's not abuse, you're being a snowflake. you know, his reaction's justified. You know, you clearly never worked a day in your life and all this kind of crap because now all you see is me sat behind a screen. But I was a teacher, and you can convey an awful lot more and actually command a lot more respect from people by simply talking calm and collected. 100% more just by being calm and collected. And I used to be a bouncer as well. And again, anyone who has worked the doors or who has been in violent situations will know categorically the people you need to be worried about are always the ones that are calm and act with conviction rather than bravado and, you know, ultra animated. Those are not the ones you need to be worried about. To command more respect, you actually can do that just by being very, very relaxed. And I think you would have gotten a lot further. And then, ladies and gents, if you've stayed this far, which I know a lot of people would have just clicked off and disliked the video by now, there is also the other avenue to take a look at is the fact that it did seem awfully staged. This is a man that has been very, 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 very vocal about wearing masks. Again, lecturing people about wearing masks. And you know, productions starting up, the movies going back to theatres and things like this. And again, I'm a huge proponent of going to the theatres, massively so in fact, because when the HBO announcement for Warner Brothers came out, I was like, this sucks. But you also do need to question how much of this is staged. You know, you get your point across when you say it once. When you go on and you repeat yourself time and time again, that's kind of when things start to fall apart. And it did sound awfully staged. This guy is an actor, for instance, you know, for argument's sake. I would hazard a guess some of this was staged, and some of it did sound awfully performative, you know. But anyway, there you go. Was it justified? I actually don't think so. I think he has key points, but I don't think it's justified to speak to anyone in that way, especially when you're in a professional atmosphere. You know, you can get your point across by speaking calmly. You absolutely can. You don't need to rage at someone, you know, like shouting at them and stuff like that. You can be calm. And a lot of people will probably point to some of my replies when I was like, you're a moron. I wasn't shouting at anyone. I just said calmly, and more so I was actually laughing at people. Go, no, you're an idiot. Calm down. Like, chill out. But anyway, these people were not standing 2 feet apart or 6 feet apart, whatever it was. 2 meters apart, 6 feet apart. I don't think that's reason to lose your temper like that. I think we all need to take a step back, everyone, and just go, hey, look, that is a lifetime's worth of ingrained social habits that you are lambasting people for not snapping out of overnight. And yes, they might have been told before, but again, it's a lifetime's worth of ingrained habits. Anyone who's used to bite their fingernails, I actually don't, by the way, but used to. Anyone that used to bite their fingernails will know it's quite hard to stop. It is quite hard to stop. You'll find yourself doing it inadvertently because habits are really hard to break. You have to do it repetitively for it to become a habit. And you've been doing this all across your lifetime. You have to do it equally so, or at least, you know, stop the habit. It takes quite a long time. So yeah, no, I stand by my earlier video actually. Maybe I went a little bit hard on him for his Napoleon complex, which a lot of people took umbrage with as well. But if you're going to be offended by a joke and you want to become the arbiter of what I say, this is definitely not the channel for you. I'm not going to respond kindly to telling me that my joke was offensive, therefore I can't say it. I'll say whatever I want, especially when someone puts themselves in a circumstance where it's very easy pickings. So yeah, probably not the channel for you if you're going to be offended by someone calling out someone for literally being the stereotype of a small man. You know, the small man syndrome. He was being quite literally the stereotype of a small man syndrome. So anyway, I stand by it all, but I did want to ask the question, do you think it's justified now you know that it was simply a few crew members wearing masks, just not standing too far apart? Let me know. I'd really, really be keen to hear that. Anyway, thanks so much. Take care.